The third way that we're going to talk about solving a system of equations is by elimination. So this is an algebraic way to solve. Sometimes it's easier if we eliminate one of the variables by adding multiples of the equations together. So before we can decide to do this method of elimination, we need to rewrite the equation so that the x and the y variables are lined up vertically. So let's take a look at that on the next page. So in the first example, 10y minus 3x equals 14, 4y plus 2x equals negative 4. So make sure the y's are lined up under the y's, the x's are lined up under the x's, the equal signs are lined up, and the constants are on the right side of the equal sign. In equation 2, notice the x's are lined up, the y's are lined up, the equal signs, and then the constants are on the other side of the equal sign. So they are both lined up in the proper format. Now we need to decide, what can we multiply one of the equations by to eliminate a variable? So we see, can I multiply one of the equations by some constant such that it will add out to be 0? So I'm going to look at a second example first. So if I want to eliminate x, I would need my coefficients to be a negative 4x and a positive 4x, so that the x's terms would add out to be 0. If I choose to eliminate the y's, I would need a negative 15y and a positive 15y. So I'm going to choose to eliminate y's. So I'm going to multiply my bottom equation by 3. That will make that a positive 15y because I already have a negative 15y there. So we're going to rewrite the top equation. We're not doing anything to the top equation. And the bottom equation, we're going to distribute and multiply everything in that equation by 3. And so that will give us negative 3x plus 15y equals 3 times negative 13 is negative 39. Now we are going to add my two equations together. Negative 4x and negative 3x is negative 7x. Notice negative 15y and positive 15y now adds out to be 0. So thus we have eliminated the variable y from my system. Negative 17 and negative 39 is negative 56. Use your calculator if you're not sure. Now negative 7 times x, the opposite of multiplying, is dividing. So we'll divide both sides by negative 7, and x is equal to 8. Now that we have x, so let's go back to my steps. Okay. So we have eliminated by rewriting the equations that were lined up. We multiplied by the coefficient so that they added out to be 0. We combined them vertically. Now we're going to substitute my answer into the original equation just like we did with substitution. And then last, rewrite my answer as an ordered pair. So my final steps look just like they did for substitution. So let's finish it up. X is 8, so pick one of my two original equations to substitute 8 back into, either the top or the bottom. I'm going to choose the top. It really does not make a difference which one you choose. So negative 4 times 8 minus 15y equals negative 17. Now let's solve for y. So that's negative 4 times 8 is negative 32 minus 15y equals negative 17. So we'll add 32 to both sides. They will add out to be 0. So we have negative 15y is equal to 15. Dividing by that coefficient of y, negative 15, on both sides will tell me y is equal to negative 1. And last step is write your answer as an ordered pair, x comma y. So x is 8, y is negative 1. Again, to check, I can check by graphing, I can check by substitution, or I could check by substituting. I use the top equation to solve. So for my check, I would put and substitute my values into the second equation. So I'd have the opposite of x, the opposite of 8, plus 5y, where y is -1. Does that give me -13? So let's see, -8. 5 times -1 is -5. -8 plus -5 is -13. So it does indeed check. It works. So we know we have found the correct solution. So those are the easier of the types of elimination where I'm only multiplying one of my equations by a variable. When I go back and look at the first equation, I'm not quite so lucky this time because I look at the y terms, 10 and 4. 4 doesn't go into 10, 10 doesn't go into 4. And then I look at the x's, -3 and 2. One is not a multiple of the other. So I know I'm not going to be able to multiply just one of my equations by a constant. I'm going to have to multiply both of my equations by a constant term to be able to eliminate a variable. Now you have to make a conscientious decision. Do you want to eliminate x or do you want to eliminate y? There is no right or wrong answer. I'm going to choose to eliminate x in this case because my signs are already a positive and a negative. My y's are both positive. So I would have to multiply by a negative for one of them, and I'm not too thrilled about doing that. So I'm going to choose to eliminate x's because my signs are already opposite. So 3 and 2, lowest common multiple is 6. So that would mean my top equation, I would have to multiply by 2. My bottom equation, to make 6, I would have to multiply by 3. So let's do those multiplications. So 20, or 2 times 10 would make that 20y minus 2 times 3y is 6x. And 2 times 14 is 28. Multiplying the bottom equation by 3. 3 times 4y is 12y plus 3 times 2y is 6x. And 3 times -4 is -12. Now when I add my two equations together, I can see here my x terms are going to add out to be 0. So when I add 20x or 20y and 12y, that's 32y. 28 and -12, 28 minus 12 is 16. Solve for y, so 32 times y. Opposite of multiplying is dividing, so divide by that coefficient of y, 32. And y is 16 over 32, but remember all fractions should be reduced, so y is 1/2. Now take y is 1/2, substitute it back into one of your two original equations. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to choose the top one just because it comes first. So 10y, 10 times 1/2 minus 3x equals 14. Now we can solve for x. So 10 times 1/2 is 5 minus 3x equals 14. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So when I subtract 5, -3x will equal 14 minus 5, or 9. Dividing by the coefficient of x, -3, will tell me x will equal 9 divided by -3 is -3. So my answer, x comma y, -3 comma 1/2. To check, again, I could graph, or I use the top equation, so I'm going to check it in the bottom equation. 4 times y of 1/2 plus 2 times x of -3. Does that give me -4? So 4 times 1/2, that's 2. 2 times -3 is -6. 2 and -6 is -4. That's what I'm supposed to get. It checks. So that guarantees me we have the correct solution. So solving your equations by elimination.